let's get into this Jenna Ortega story. So yesterday, I don't forget where I was going. I think I was on my way to work actually. And I had saw this story no, actually I was on my way to the gym. That's where I was doing. I was on my way to. So I was on my way to the gym, and then I saw that the story dropped about Jenna Ortega and Melissa Barrera. So of course I had to go and read the article, and was like, because they were saying that yeah, she's finally coming out and revealing. I guess she has. I mean, does Jenna? Oh yeah. I was like, does she have anything to promote? I know she did that movie with the unicorn. I don't know how well. I mean, I don't know how well it's doing at the box. I can't say I don't know how it did at the box office, because when we did the box office talk, what was it last week? I mean, when we did the Snow White thing, I talked about like how well it did or whatever the case is. I know it's what is it, like an A24 movie, so it's gonna be like a smaller independent film. It's probably gonna make a little coin. It'll probably do better on streaming or when you digital rent it or whatever. But nevertheless, I don't know if that was around the time when she was promoting that or what that was for, if that was for that reason. But she decided to share why she declined to return to Scream 7. Because a lot of people were assuming that it had to do with, oh, she's standing in solidarity with Melissa Barrera. That was some of the rumors that was going on. She tried to put out some diplomatic thing and say that it was scheduling conflicts. And y'all know when I've been doing this show and we've been covering Scream 7 consistently, since all the drama was going on and since it was announced that Nev Campbell was coming back along with all the other plethora of people that we were, because I was giving y'all constant Scream updates. I never truly believed that that was the reason why she was stepping down from the franchise. The scheduling conflicts, I'm like, yeah, scheduling conflicts, don't get me wrong, happens all the time. There's always ways you got to get around it. There's the rumor that's going around about that new movie, Havoc, that's coming out on Netflix that I really want to see. It's from the director of The Raid and The Raid 2, and Tom Hardy starring in it. They said that that movie has been like back and forth for 4 years because Gareth, who was the director, was trying to get all the people back and was scheduling conflicts and all other stuff. So, yeah. So, that makes sense if that was the reason. We'll go along with that because he said that with his film that it was we put it on pause and it was shelved because the movie we needed more time to do reshoots, but everybody's schedule was crazy, including Tom Hardy. So we were able to work around that. This whole situation with Jenna Ortega, I never truly believed that that was the real reason. And so now that everything is going around because they said, you know, it had to do with the pro-Palestine media post that Melissa Barrera had posted. Ortega is now revealing in the cut what the real reasons were. She said it had nothing to do with pay or schedule. So now she tells the truth. And this is why I say when people lie, that's why I don't like to lie, because it's hard to keep up with the lie. Like that, there was one time you could slip on, but well, wait a minute. And if somebody got that good memory, but wait a minute, but you said, and it was like, oh wait, and now you busted. So now they said that she pointed out that not only was the film going forward without Barrera, who played an on-screen sister in Scream and Scream 6, before being fired from the franchise. She said that it was she left the series because Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli open. That's a mouthful. Matt Bettinelli open. I was like, how many I gotta like you gotta do all of this with your mouth to even get all the vowels of it. But anyway, so she said they weren't coming back, so that's why she didn't come back. So she said the Melissa stuff was happening and it was all kind of falling apart. If Scream 7 wasn't going to be with that team of directors and those people I fell in love with, then it didn't seem like the right move for me in my career at the time. Now, the death of a unicorn actress who was known for roles in Wednesday and Beetlejuice also expressed an interest in stepping back from IP filmmaking, saying I've happened to join a lot of franchises, which is so great to be part of a legacy. But for me, I'm really trying to prioritize new directors and original stories. I know on the outside, maybe people are looking at my choices like, man, what the hell is this girl doing? I never thought I would do a movie with unicorns, but an original script is exciting. If I can help get it made, I love to do that. But that makes a whole lot of sense. It's like, you know what? Jenna wants to, she's kind of like that girl at that point where she's like, I want to actually challenge myself and work with directors. You know who's starting to do that right now? Matt Damon. But I guess because he's paid his dues and he is where he is because, he's spent a lot of years on the grind and stuff. Now he said he's at a place where I just want to work with some of the best directors. It's not even about, whether or not I need to, get this notch on my belt or that notch. It's just I want to work with really good directors. Hence why he's working on this Odyssey movie with Christopher Nolan. And so I could definitely see why Jenna Ortega, who's at the height of her career, why she would choose these off-kilter type films in these original scripts. Because everybody's out here saying, "Oh, they're doing to making superhero movies. All they're doing is remaking movies and sequels." And blah, blah, blah. I was like, there are a lot of movies out there that are original IPs. You just have to actually look for them and not just be focused on all the A-list pomp and circumstance. Well, stop focusing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do want to see the Thunderbolts, but it's like stop focusing on all they're doing is making a sequel to the Black Phone or Megan 2 or another Mission Impossible, or now we're getting, another superhero IP. It's like there are really interesting original movies that's out there. And I've heard that while predictable, this Death of a Unicorn movie is actually pretty good. So I definitely want to check it out. Speaking of which, I didn't even know, here's another original idea. I didn't even know Drop was coming out this week. I totally forgot until I started seeing a couple of YouTube pundits that I watch started doing out of the theater reactions. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I totally forgot that Drop was coming out this week. So I need to get my ticket because I love me some Christopher Landon. I think a lot of the ideas that he comes up with are original. Speaking of original IPs, a lot of the movies he does is original. Freaky was an original idea. I mean, yeah, it's taken from Freaky Friday, but it's got a different twist to it. Then you have Happy Death Day, and then we had Happy Death Day too, and now he's got Drop, which is another Christopher Landon movie. So it's just like there are a lot of great things out there. Now, in regards to this whole situation, I love you, Jenna Ortega, but I was watching something. I think I was on Twitter earlier because when I was working on the show, I happened to come across, there's some people that I follow. So Mike from We Watch a Movie, hey Mike, he and I do talk and stuff whenever we're on social media. So he went and said something in a clip. I don't know if he actually did a YouTube video on it. I didn't see it, but I saw that he posted a clip, so it might be on his YouTube channel. He said something that made a whole lot of sense. Like everybody up in here is getting all up in arms about Scream and justice for Melissa Barrett. And don't get me wrong, I'm here. I'm all pro Palestine. If y'all see enough of my posts on social media, you know how I feel on this whole subject. However, when we look at it at the end of the day, compared to the many of Scream movies that have come out, especially with the legacy cast, like Nev Campbell, like Courtney Cox, like he's dead, but allegedly he's coming back for the new one, like David Arquette. When you look at the Carpenter sisters, where in that whole zeitgeist does Melissa Barrera or Jenna Ortega Scream stand out for y'all? Like, oh my God, we need another Scream movie with the Carpenter sisters in it. Like, I really feel like, regardless of radio silence or whether or not they were going to come back, they really brought nothing new to the table. Yeah, they tried different things. Yeah, they tried to steer Scream in a different direction. I like the idea of them putting Scream in an urban setting with Scream 6, but there were parts of Scream 6 that worked and parts of Scream 6 that did not work. Same thing with Scream 5. Scream 5, while it was like paying homage to the original Scream film, there were moments in there where it was just like, okay, and especially the weakest for me when it comes to radio silence in their Scream films is their third act. They have yet to write a good third act in that whole situation. So their third act to me have always been pretty weak, especially in Scream 6. That whole third act irritates my damn spirit. Although I do like, some of the things that's in there. But there were just certain decisions and certain things that was going on. I'm like, okay, really? This is where we're going with this? So I'm really hoping and fingers crossed that Scream 7 is much better. But I feel like at the end of the day, whether or not Jenna Ortega or Melissa Barrera return or they don't return, I don't feel like they're going to shake things up or move the needle, whether or not they were there or they're not. Now, I think the rest of the story went on to say, because it goes in and it talks about all the stuff that happened, behind the, where all the mess and stuff started going on. Where, Radio Silence apparently where they stepped away from Scream so they could direct Melissa Barrera in Abigail, which did not do well at the box office. And Abigail was a good movie. I went to go see the film in the theaters, but where were y'all? A lot of you pro-Palestine people, where were y'all? I say that every time. And so then after that, in August, when the radio silence had to step down because they had another, scheduling conflict, Christopher Landon stepped to the plate and was going to take over the movie. Then he started dealing with a lot of bullying from a lot of the fandom and all this other stuff. Where I will say this, maybe the thing that they brought to the franchise was a new generation of people. So they brought in like the Gen Zers and stuff. But then again, I felt like in a way, maybe I'm feeling a ways about this, the way that they handled it is because my generation, like my generation, like us elder millennials, those of us on the cusp of Gen X, we on the border, we about to put one toe across the border of Gen X. We kind of felt like we was being cast aside, kind of like how y'all cast aside Sydney and Gale and Dewey. Y'all just diluted them to bona fide cameos, and then they decided to give their core four members plot armor, but then you decide to kill off a beloved character. Like, where they do that at? So that's the overall irritation for me, because it felt like that Radio Silence was like, you know what? Fuck all the, the legacy characters. We want to use y'all as a way to bridge this gap and usher in this new generation, but we're not even going to kill off any of my people because we created these characters. But we have no problem making y'all disposable. But I think they knew better to try to go and try to kill off Sydney, because they already know Sydney is that girl, and the fans really would have rioted. Now, do I think with Scream 7 coming out that it may not make as much money as Scream 6 because we don't have Jenna Ortega, whose career was hot at the time? I don't know if Jenna Ortega is still, like, while she is taking chances and she's doing all these different films, is she a box office draw? Is she somebody that gets butts in seats? I don't know. I just feel like her star has kind of waned a little bit. I don't really hear people talking about Jenna Ortega like that. I just think people are just real, like the way, especially the way we treat celebrity these days. I just feel like people are real fickle. Where it's like y'all love somebody 1 minute and then 5 minutes later, y'all done moved on to the next thing. So I don't know if Jenna Ortega is a box office draw. So yeah, they had all of that stuff. And then we're supposed to be getting Wednesday season 2, which I heard Lady Gaga's a part of. I'm interested to see what that season's all going to be about. Then y'all know Christopher Landon departed the movie because people basically started bullying him. He said it was a dream job that turned into a nightmare, and I totally agree with that because I feel like I would have loved to have seen Christopher Landon take on a Scream franchise. First of all, you have a homosexual going to come in and direct it, and also possibly write it. Well, he was writing it, I believe, and being that, of course, Kevin Williamson is an openly homosexual man. Yeah, he's a part of it. But then some people said that Kevin Williamson should have been the choice from the beginning. But I feel like y'all just went with, and as much as I love Kevin Williamson, I feel like y'all, that Radio Silence, that was a panic move. Y'all didn't have, I think everybody was getting too scared because all this pro-Palestine talk was a little too much. Y'all paid too much attention to what people are saying on social media and worried about getting bullied, that y'all just don't tune out the noise and just make the movie that you want to make. And whoever shows up to see it, they'll see it. If they don't, then oh well. Now, it'll be determined whether or not Scream 7 does well financially at the box office. And then I guess if it does, then it will prove like, okay, so regardless of all the stuff that people are saying, the real Scream fans will go up and will show up and see it. And then you'll have those people who were these pro-Palestine people that are against every little thing about Scream 7 and wanted to fail. I guarantee you they're going to hate watch it. Trust and believe, because y'all don't want to be left out of nothing. A lot of y'all like doing all this stuff because y'all want attention on social media. But she did tell a Hollywood reporter, well, Melissa Barrera did, that Ortega reached out to show support after she was fired over her social media post. So at the end of the day, I'm glad that she said what she said. She told us what it was. I think in so many ways she didn't really say it, but I think she does stand in solidarity with Melissa Barrera. But she could just cloak it in. Well, I mean, original people that I work with are not coming back, so I don't want to be working on a franchise with some new people that I'm not familiar with. Because if Radio Silence and all these other people aren't coming back, then what's the point of me even being part of the whole situation? And no shade, but I feel like at the end of Scream 6, I feel like they wrapped up their characters in a way where it's just like y'all left it open in the possibility if they ever want to come back. I don't know if they'll ever invite Melissa back, but they wrapped up Sam's story in a way where it's just like, okay, y'all can move on and you could bring in a whole new cast of kids to rejudge this franchise, which I wish they would have done rather than going back with the Neff Campbell thing. But because I'm a legacy Scream fan, if you want to get my butt back in the seat, then I say let's go with familiar territory and do the whole bring Neff Campbell back. Now she's got a family, and then that new generation of her children and their friends can be the catalyst of pushing this franchise forward, and then we can just stop with the whole Sydney stuff. Because how long are we gonna have Sydney getting chased by a damn serial killer? Like, it's getting a little stale after a while. But like I said, if you got a way to make it interesting, then I'll be there to watch it. So shout out to you, niece, for saying the quiet part out loud. But I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Do y'all believe Jenna Ortega in regards to what she had to say regarding why she left the Scream franchise? Because now she's speaking out. And we got to wait like a whole nother year for Scream 7 to come out in theaters. I was going to say, oh, Lord, I can't wait. But before you know it, you blink fast enough, it'll already be February of 2026 because the way these days be flying by. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He said, I saw on Tori Spelling Instagram the Hub Pop. You want to know something? Oh, I didn't know she spoke to Jamie Kennedy. But that could be interesting if he was, because look, they bringing back Roman from Scream 3. They bringing back Stu from the first Scream. I don't know about Billy Loomis. I mean, we know he's been reduced to being a Force ghost in the last two movies. They made a hell of a lot of announcements in regards to people that's coming back. So I would not be surprised. You think they will bring back Timothy Olyphant as Mickey, the freaky Tarantino film student, or even Billy's mother? I don't know if they'll go that way. But you said that unicorn movie, you heard it's a flop. That'll be interesting. I mean, but here's the thing: if Jamie Kennedy was to come back in some sort of capacity, that would make perfect sense why they would bring back the Meeks Martin twins. So, and I like the idea of the core four, but we're not going to have them anyway. So we're going to only have the core two. Did she decline it? That's a good question. Or you said, did she drop out? Are you talking about Jenna Ortega? Well, she's saying that she didn't come back because of, the whole situation. I don't even know. I mean, was she contractually? I wonder if she was contractually obligated. I don't think they were. I think they were supposed to sign on to do the movie. I think they probably only signed on for 2 films, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that would be an interesting question to know. But anyway, all right, speaking of horror movies, let's get into this story. So apparently today, and I wasn't expecting that to happen, I Know What You Did Last Summer. They leaked some photos, courtesy of People, some exclusive photos of what we could expect from the I Knew What You Did Last Summer movie, which is supposed to be coming out in July. And I'm actually excited to see this film. I'm looking forward to a trailer, which means that they should be giving us one any day now. And look, Jennifer Lopez, but Jennifer Love Hewitt looks good here. I don't know. Why is she giving me, what was that show that she was on where she played the hooker, the client list? She's giving me the client list tease here. But I'm glad that they put them extensions in her hair, because I'm like, yeah, but she be looking kind of rough when she be playing Maddie on 911. But here she look good. And this is her when she was younger. So Jennifer Love Hewitt still got it. But I love the brown. So They said it's been many summers since Jennifer Love Hewitt played Julie James, the good-hearted final girl who can't escape her past in the 1997 slasher I Know What You Did Last Summer. Revisiting one of her earliest and most iconic roles for the upcoming sequel, not a reboot, was, as she said, very nerve-wracking. Well, yeah, it's a direct... But the question remains is, what is it a direct sequel of? Is it a direct sequel to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer? Or is it a direct sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer? Because but I'm guessing it has to be the second one because the director of the film, I could have sworn she said that Carla being a part of the franchise is canon, which had everybody all excited and thinking that maybe we can get a Brandy cameo up in here. So Jennifer went on and said, I'll be super honest. I had total anxiety for 48 hours before filming because I was like, can I do this? Am I going to pull this off? It's a lot of pressure. Hewitt, who's now 46, filmed the original I Know What You Did Last Summer shortly after turning 18, sharing scenes with Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Ryan Phillippe. She and Prinze, who's now 49, reprised their roles to shepherd a new generation of horror screen queens and kings. They also returned for the sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which released in 1998. That fresh ensemble it consists of Chase Sui Wonders, Madeline Klein, Sarah Pigeon, Jonah Our King, and Tariq Withers. So that's one of the pictures. And I was looking at Fred. I said, okay, Freddie, come on, Scruff Daddy with that gray beard. He looking good too. You know? And so we got Freddie Prinze Jr. there, looking like a snack. You know what? Shout out to Sarah Michelle Gellar. She got a good one right there. And then these are the kids who were caught up in yet another accident, a terrible, horrible accident. Run, get the first aid kit, apply a tourniquet. Y'all don't know, if y'all don't know that song, y'all definitely need to listen to that iconic bitch track. But anyway, so they said that, so she says about the cast that the cast is phenomenal. And she said that it felt like she was passing a baton. She said it's for them to make it their own and for me to stand by like a proud mom and say, it's yours now, take it and run and enjoy. Now, a synopsis for the new film sets the stage for 5 friends inadvertently causing a deadly car accident and covering it up by making a pact to take the secret to the grave. A year later, someone seeks revenge while making it clear they know what they did last summer. Sound familiar? The newbies, though, learned this happened before and consult 2 survivors of the Southport Massacre of 1997 for help. So, yeah, so now they got to go and find people who got caught up in the situation damn near, what was it, 30 years ago? Because I'm like, damn, time flies. Because it was like 97. And we in, what year we in? 28 years ago, I guess we could call it. Because we're in 2025, 28 years. And I'm like, 28 years later, oh my God, we got a movie called 28 Years Later coming out this year. And this happened 28 years ago. There's something in the water, apparently, with this 28. So now Wonders, who's 28, said the film gets scary, sexy, and campy as it leans into how young people are interacting with each other in the world today in the smartest and most satisfying way. Saying when you get a group of young actors together, it could be a recipe for disaster oftentimes. Don't I know it? But everyone in this cast just brought it to the nth degree. Excuse me. We got along so well. The chemistry between us was so fun and natural and seamless. The cast did game nights, bar crawls, and attended concerts together between filming on location in Australia, she adds. Writer-director Jennifer Caden Robinson says that they set out for balls to the wall fun in this modernized version, which embraces the absurdities. Saying it's not a serious movie, it's a really fun popcorn summer event. She warns, though the horror elements are ratcheted up to 100 in this, is much more brutal. So there's definitely more methodology into every kill in this movie, unlike the first, which is kind of just him stalking them and going after them. There's a lot of gore or blood and violence in the first one. There's not a lot of gore or blood and violence in the first one. There certainly is in this one. Well, here's the thing. And I was going to say that, you know what, as much as I love I Know What You Did Last Summer, no shade, but I'm more or less a Scream fan than I Know What You Did Last Summer fan. And I think the reason why is because of exactly what the director said. There wasn't a lot of gore in the first movie. There wasn't a lot of violence in the first movie. I mean, there were kills. We got to see the kills. And I always say the highlight for me in the film was always Helen's death scene, which went on for like a good 10 minutes. Because it was like different stages. In the back of the police car, she had to break the window and climb out, and then ran to the store, the Shiva store. Then her sister gets murdered. Then she's trying to get away from the damn killer in his little raincoat and his hook. And then she's running, and she had to jump out the thing, and then, damn near die, jumping 2 stories down to the ground, and then had to run through the alley, and then her dumb ass stopped. I love you, Sarah, but you was dumb for stopping. And then she gets all stabbed up while the band goes by. So that was like the most iconic scene in that whole movie. And I always feel like, yeah, in this day and age, these kids, when you come in and doing horror, we want to see the blood, we want to see the gore, we want to see people get, in the words of Jada Pinkett Smith in Scream 2, shut the fuck up, okay? So that's what we need in this film. So hopefully and I like the fact that she also said they're going to lean into the absurdity of the I Know What You Did Last Summer films. Because let's be honest, I Know What You Did Last Summer, it definitely is kind of like campy and silly in a lot of the way that it handled itself. I think the problem with I Know What You Did Last Summer, particularly the first one, it took itself a little too seriously. And it was kind of looking at it like, yeah, it's a little cheesy. Like, you can see the cheese. But it feels like they lean a little too much into the cheese, but the cheese was bad. And I still know what you did last summer. But hopefully, the way she's talking is that they've been able to find that balance of the overall tone of what I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise is. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this movie. And what I'm actually, at this point, looking forward to is all we need now is a trailer. Because y'all can say a whole bunch of stuff and be like, yeah. But if we watch the movie and I'm like, okay, really? Because I did hear that, when I believe they showed footage at CinemaCon, and I believe, excuse me, based off of some of the footage at CinemaCon, they were saying it was like, yeah, it's kind of got the I Know What You Did Last Summer isms, but it looks like a bunch of fun. And if it's, every horror movie, I don't want to be grossed out. I don't want everything don't have to be Terrifier. Like, if I can go and see a good slasher film that's fun also, then I want to see those too. I like when it's a little, a little wink wink and a little cheesy, and it's like, it's got a little comedy rooted in there where it's not just like, oh my God, I'm grossed out, I'm uncomfortable. It's brutal. Like, I got to get in the mood for those type of films. Like, is what I'm hearing about that Weapons movie that Zach Cregger has coming out later on this year, because it was supposed to come out in 2026, but they moved it up until after like August or September of this year. But I'm hearing that movie is crazy. Versus where, I like my horror with a little comedy, because then it's not as, it's like an easier pill to swallow. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story based off of what the director said about the upcoming I Know What You Did Last Summer film? And I know, like, the poster, the pictures and everything doesn't really show much of anything, but at least we have an insight on what everybody looks like that's going to be in the film. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know what your comments are in the comments down below. I meant to say your thoughts are in the comments down below, but sometimes I get tongue-tied. Why do I feel Last Summer is going to treat the legacy stars more? You mean versus what Radio Silence did with the legacy characters in Scream? We here. I don't know if you sort of if you came in when I did the story earlier in regards of the Scream thing, but yeah, I kind of felt that too. That the way that Jennifer Love Hewitt is talking is like, yeah, we're using the legacy characters in a way that's respectable, and we're giving them something to do, but it's a way to pass the torch. And not just have y'all come in and be background decorations, but we just we'll go and we'll kill off Ray, or we'll kill off Julie, or whatever the case is. It'll probably be like a moment. You know what it was kind of like reminding me of? I'm like, what if they kind of take a page out of the first I Know What You Did Last Summer and kind of go like the Anne Heche route with Julie and Ray, where it's like, oh, well, we need to find out some backstory, whatever happened, or this has happened before, and we're trying to get away, and the man's killing us, and we can't really tell nobody. But there was a story that came out 28 years ago about survivors of a massacre similar to what we're dealing with. And now we have to go visit them. And so it kind of goes into that whole Anne H, when she was in the first one, type of territory. When they found out about Billy Egan and that whole drama. hmm I'm surprised I remember that name. That was the man that, what's the name?